Hey guys, it's Gaijin here, and thought I'd do a new player experience video series just to kind of see how it is, answer some questions, maybe help some people out. So this account is just out of the tutorial, just the first handful of fights the game tells you to do. You can see that I've done the 2 Earthshrine missions, and I haven't done anything else. I've also done the video polls that are happening at the moment, where you can watch advertisements for a guaranteed 5-star or NV pool ticket. And I did those off camera because I didn't really think that would be interesting to watch. So what are the goals for this video? I think I'd like to go over some settings that are useful for new people to toggle on, maybe to turn off, some UI elements that would help people understand where everything is, because it's a bit difficult as a new player to really wrap around all the menus that we have, because this game is quite old. And I'd like to go over some goals for this series, figure out what we actually want to do with it, and we'll cap it off with pulls because everyone loves seeing those. So let's get started with player settings. So you want to start to get into the settings in general. You want to press the hamburger menu icon up in the top right and then press options. Set your sound however you like, that's okay. Exploration options are mostly up to preference. I would play around with them, see what feels good. This is one of the ones that I've seen people in the help chat in the subreddit Discord have some issue with in the past. If you don't really know what you're after, you can either just send everything that isn't a NV summoned unit right into your reserves. That's completely fine. Your experience isn't going to change very much. Or you can just keep everything in your unit box and make some liberal use of filters when you're figuring out what you can use. So for battle effects, I think these are the ones that show CG animations when you use them, like with limit bursts and battle effects like espers. I could be wrong, but I highly recommend putting auto limit bursts on. So when you press the auto button during combat, it will automatically use limit bursts. This is a very easy way to increase the efficiency of your story clears, which will be fairly important. The repeat settings are also pretty important. You'll want to set it to either all battles or all quests. This will just keep the repeat button active while between battles or between quests as a whole. It's a bit up to preference as well there, but what you really want is repeat last sequence. So it will just take the last set of actions you've done and it will just repeat them in the exact order, the exact time you've clicked them. This is very important for farming events, which we do a lot of. Everything here is also pretty up to your preference. These don't do a whole lot. You generally want to see how much damage you've done in a turn, because there's content that will ask you to meet certain damage thresholds in one turn, and this is a good way of knowing if you've actually reached that. Chain damage multiplier display, either being the shared or the by unit. This one's a bit up to personal preference. I've seen people say that the by unit option is a bit messy and hard to follow. Very valid, and I can see why that's the case. I do prefer it because I like seeing if my single hit units have hit the maximum chain cap by the time they've hit. Another really important setting is automatic protection when you receive units. This will put a lock on the unit when you get it, so it will prevent you from selling it, from fusing it into another unit, or transferring it for trust coins. The only thing you really need to have a lock on is your NVs, your Near Visions, because everything else in this game is mostly useless in combat. It's a bit sad, but the power creep of an 8-year-old game is just kind of like that. I like having the dialogue autoplay, just in case I'm completely not looking at my phone when I start a new story quest while I'm farming, and just letting it run. And the skip button on, which means it will be fully showing as soon as you start a cutscene, and it will let you press the skip button faster. If you want to enjoy and read the story, that's completely fine, and most of the seasons have some pretty reasonably good story. But for my instances, I'm going to be skipping them because I'm just here for the gameplay. And I've turned all these push notifications off. I really don't want the game bugging me. So now about some UI that's important. So on the home screen, on the left here, we've got our news notifications. These are letters from the dev team. They just tell you what's upcoming, what's come out, what's going to be coming out, and when and how long. Here's the mail button. This is probably one of the most important buttons on this menu, on this screen, because it has access to all of your daily logins. Now, I've got 2 days worth of logins because I've set up this account before the day rolls over. It's midnight CST, I think. Definitely double check what it is in your local time so you can plan around it accordingly. So you can make sure you do daily things before they run out. Now, let's see what's interesting that we get for being a new player. A guaranteed NV summon ticket. This is something that new players will get for logging in on their first day. This is something that's very important. And we've got some specific logins for the Halloween season and for the Adventure of Dai Dragon Quest collaboration. These are all nice and dandy. What you'll be getting when you log in just depends on what season when you start playing. So I'm going to not be really focusing on the specifics of the Halloween and the Dai units unless I get to them. Because I can't guarantee that you guys will have them when you start up. So I'm going to click the claim all button, just so I don't have to go one by one, click, and all that. So let's jump over to a new piece of UI that's pretty important. For new players, you'll really want to make use of these panel quests. This is the in-game tutorial for them. Read that at your own pace. There's just a few quirks about this UI that's very important to make sure you know about. When you complete lines, this is a bingo board. When you complete lines, once you're up to line 4 or greater, you can slide this piece of UI along to accept these rewards. This is something that I've seen a lot of people really get tripped up over. It's a kind of poor piece of UI design because this these 4 little boxes do line up very well, and it's hard to tell that this is a slidable element. And this board, this bingo board, is basically the game's way of teaching you what you should be doing to get stronger. You know, progressing the story, using your limit bursts, equipping your units with items, getting espers and equipping them to your party. These are all very important things. And as you progress, these boards will ask you to do more and more challenging things. Not all of them are particularly complex. The hardest and most complex one is the Clear Sephiroth EXT. But that is probably going to be one of the major goals of this kind of video series, and kind of show people that, yeah, it's okay if you don't have a wide unit pool. With the right knowledge, you can clear it. And that's kind of where this series will be fairly different from your own experience, because I've been playing this game for a while. I know what all the relevant NVs do, and I know which ones are worth using. And that can be kind of tricky for a new player. So I would highly recommend either using the Reddit's daily ask threads, those are very useful, or go to the subreddit's Discord page and go into the help chat, and people will be more than happy to help. And there's dedicated chats for the high-end content like Vision World and Clash of Wills, and we'll get to those in a bit once I've unlocked the Vortex. The piece of view I've just clicked on are the quests. These are your daily quests. These will give you some lapis for completing a certain amount of daily quests. On weekends you get an extra stretch goal for 12, so you'll have to do all of these. And you can spend your daily coins that you get from these on some nice little bonuses, like a bit of extra money, a bit of extra unit increase, unit experience, advanced tokens for explorations. Those don't really matter. Trust moogles don't really matter. You'll be getting a ton of bigger ones from events and from just the new player login stuff even. This can be useful for new players. I have seen that people do run out of their energy pots quite early on, once they've run out of their free energy for being a new player. Expansion vouchers, I don't know how much of these are really valuable, because you get 20 of them by logging in on your 8th day, and that's a lot. You could probably just chuck those straight into units and never worry about the cap of units, items, anything ever again. These are very useful. These are summon tickets. These are the generic summon tickets. The EX tickets will take you... We'll talk about those a bit later in the summon area. But note that they're the very generic pull every available unit kind of thing. So here we've got a 7th anniversary mission set that ends at the end of this month of recording, so November 2023. These will be important to do as well. If we can get these keys to do this mission, I'm not sure if we can get them anymore. Heroic quests. These are quests that are linked to Season 4 of the story. And these are very worth doing because you get some very important things. The most important thing you get is a free EX3 Ronda. So this little guy, he is very important. He is the best physical tank that the game really offers, and it's completely free. Not much content needs physical tanks anymore because, in part, the game has power crept to the point where you really don't need dedicated tanks for physical damage anymore unless the boss has certain mechanics. These are advanced quests. These are the old way that the game kind of taught you what you should be going to go do. These are still very useful to do, and I highly recommend doing them. Here it says do 10 billion damage on a quest. This is very easy. I know the number is quite intimidating, but don't worry. You can completely demolish a story quest and get this in one turn. So we've got some expert quests here. These are just quests that will reward you for getting 7-star units, awakening them, getting near vision units, and awakening them. It says here that I've collected 1 near vision, and I'm not sure what it's talking about. I don't think I got one from the video pools. We've got parameter quests. These just ask you to reach a required stat number, and I'm very certain that you can just bring a friend to complete these. And what I'm likely going to be doing is gearing one of my main account units to fulfill all of these at once. It shouldn't be very difficult. These numbers are actually quite low for today's standard of units. This is the Hidden Chamber of Arms missions. This is a fairly new, very long trial that is quite difficult to do without the right units. We probably won't be touching this on the New Player series until very late, because I still haven't touched this on my main account, but that's mostly due to a bit of laziness on my part. Sealed Tower is a similar thing. It's kind of difficult to do if you don't have the right units, so unless we get those units, we can't really do it here. And Division of Might is another such one of these hard trials. It asks you to complete a specific trial that you have to go into the vortex and click the little Moogle on the top right, and walk around to get to a certain trial. It's quite difficult to do, but it is cheesable, and that's something we might be doing. And I'll probably show you guys how that works as well. So that's all the pretty important UI. I think those are the really big things to get your head around. We'll also talk about the Vortex when I unlock that later. That'll probably be in like an event structure video. And in terms of goals, I've laid out some really specific things that I want to get done with this series. I want to do every single panel quest. I want to do them on camera. I want to show you how easy these can be if you kind of have the right ideas, if you know what you're looking for. I want everything that I do here to be replicatable, but not because you have the exact units. I want to give you guys the knowledge on how the game works and how to use that to your benefit. Something I do also want to do is clear all the old trials and show you that there's a lot of old content in this game that is really easy to do with the new stuff. So now, we'll go into the pools section of the video. This is probably everyone's favorite dopamine hit. I've done as I said, I did the free video pools. I've gotten these 5 stars. These don't matter at all. As I said before, the only units that matter are near visions, the NVs. They come from red crystals. So now that I've claimed everything from my messages, I should be able to do a bunch of specific new player pools. I'm interested in this one and the first banner on the standard summon. If we have access to this one, this is amazing. We do. Okay, so all the guaranteed starter NV summons have a really shallow pool of units. This is by design. And most of them suck. Just to give you a taste of the cool things you can do in this game while giving you pretty cinematics. The characters you want to be on the lookout for, Savior of Souls Lightning. She's got a very strong defensive break, so she helps you hit a lot harder. Summer, Fina, and Daisy is quite good. It's a magic tank. There's no guaranteed magic tanks, so you'll probably be on the lookout for one earlier rather than later. So you can do bosses that have preemptive attacks and longer trials that require you to tank a little bit. Otherwise, the rest of it, and a little special shout out to Neovision's Terra. She does evoke type damage. This does matter because it means you'll be able to do less party swapping between trials and clear old stuff easier without having to do a bunch of menuing. Awesome, Savior of Souls Lightning. She will be definitely someone I keep in mind. Soul Envy. He's not very good. He was quite bad when he came out, like almost 2 years ago. No, it'd be over 2 years at this point, and he hasn't aged well. Yeah, double soul. So we're getting some vision cards. These are an equip slot on your Neovisions, and they provide their stats to the unit, and they do certain different things. For being a new player, we will get a NV at level 120, so the max level. These units are also level 120. That's a great help. It means we don't have to fuss around with leveling them up. And at this point, this game is about collections. Rerolling doesn't help you that much in the long run. It can help you in the short run, and you can do it. I just don't think that rerolling is something that is vital to an account. So Axstar, Awakened Dragon Axstar, he's just not very good. So back on vision cards, you can see that they have the stats, how much they give for that stat, and bonuses that card gives when you reach that level with the vision card. You can level these up by sacrificing other vision cards into them, and this one gives you some lightning, earth, and dark resist, and if you're a Final Fantasy Brave Exvius unit, you get even more resists and some attack and magic. I'll probably go over vision cards in their own video because there's a lot of vision cards in the game and only a few of them really matter. Such is the case for these old games, and I'm going to say that a fair bit, but that doesn't mean that what you have is unusable. Since there's a lot of old content in this game, everything is doable with NVs. Pretty much. There's some new stuff that'll be tricky without the right kind of stuff, but I'm going to show you guys that you can smash out so much of this game with very little effort with these high-powered red crystal units. Ooh, we got a little upgrade on our pool. That's nice. Unfortunately, nothing upgraded to NV, so I'm not particularly interested in what anything is. Some of these really old units have niche trust masteries, rewards for using the unit a lot or fusing trust mastering Moogles into them. So, for example, Leon has this trust mastery. It is a materia, so it'll go into your materia slots, and it just does these. If you have a sword equipped, it gives you some attack. If you've got some heavy armor, it gives you some attack. That's real. All these old units have some really nice and simple and very low numbered TMRs. So we've got a 10+1. We've got a few 10+1 summons that can give us Neovisions. These are hopefully things that will give us some very nice stuff. Alright, nothing from this pool, but that's okay. We're not super down about this. The free things we've been given are more than enough to let us farm everything. All the old permanent content to help us get stronger and pull for new things. So something I want to encourage you guys to do is come to the subreddit Discord. Come be a part of the community. Come get help. And once you've learned some things, help some other people. Really make the community of this game nicer. Not to say it isn't nice, but it's always... You can never make a community too helpful, I find. There'll always be people in need of help. And I would also like to encourage you guys to comment just some questions about the game. Ask, what does this unit do? Do they really matter? Ask, just engage. Here on the time limited page of the summons, you'll find some free pools. Most events will come with some free goodies of some kind. Here we've got a daily pool that we can do. It's got a 3% for NVs on any given slot. I think that's a rate up. I don't remember, but it can be useful. Even if we don't get any NVs, 5 stars, while not very useful for fights themselves, can be very helpful with their trust masteries, their super trust masteries that unlock when they hit a certain rarity by upgrading them. And here we've got a free weekly pool that comes with 1 guaranteed NV. Now this could be a really big game changer. If we get a newer unit or a very well-rounded support, this could really help us in terms of the harder content for new players. Unfortunately, we didn't really get one. This guy is leagues better. Laswell Dark Lineage is leagues better than the free NV damage dealers you'll be getting from the beginner pools, but he himself is not very good in the grand scheme of things. But that's alright. Anything is helpful right now. We just need a critical density of units so we can make informed choices about our teams and construct teams for specific content. Now, we also were given a gem to do this summon. This is a Japanese style banner, so this game has a Japanese version, obviously, and it is structured a bit differently. They like to give out currency that only works on specific banners. So, they'll give out some of these currency that when you get 5, you can do a pull just for that banner's units. And for die in particular, there's one particularly good hit. Legendary hero Avon is a very strong breaker. Somebody who weakens your opponent's defenses. Those are quite important for high level content. And he is absolutely the standout of this banner. Hadler is... I don't even know who he is. I'm sorry. Die fans, I don't think he's very good. But we'll use him. Any envy is better than none. And let's check if we've gotten some other tickets for any other... We shouldn't have these. These are from an event that's mostly past and we can't get from anymore. We got a Halloween pool. Now, this pool in particular will give us one Full Moon Carton, Temptress Lilith, I think is her name, and Ibarra. All three of these are fine. Ibarra's the worst. So Carton or Lilith are really what we're aiming for. They deal reasonable dark damage for how free they are. Of course, when I call out the worst unit of a banner. That's alright. She's a mage. We can make use of mages. They have very useful things that they can do. So we've got the old Lilith from this banner. So we're getting all the old Halloween units. These are normally time limited. So we're not going to throw them in the dumpster just yet. They will... It's like, for example, we have we have access to 4 of Lilith's TMR, in case we wanted it. We don't, but the idea is your time-limited units can have some nice Trust Masteries or Super Trust Masteries. We don't particularly want them, though, in this case. What else do we have available for new players? I think the last thing left to cover, aside from banner structure, which will be in another video. This video's already hit 30 minutes, gee whiz. We've got these tickets, the solid gold and green ones and rainbow ones. These are pulls that let you go onto the premium banners of new units and do just a pull on that banner. These are particularly useful, so you don't have to spend your lapis to chase a new unit. And I think I'm going to be using my tickets on this, this banner right here for Guardian of the Underworld Chow. He's quite good. He's very easy to gear. He comes with, his TMRs, and his STMR is very good for himself, so they take up those slots. We got Laguna. He's okay. His breaks are a bit weak, but if we get some more Final Fantasy VIII units, we can go do his crown battle and upgrade him. And these are... If there's any terms that I've mentioned that you don't understand, that's completely alright. This game is super dense, and I'll be talking about a lot of this stuff in later videos, especially the weirder ways to upgrade your units. So once we finish up these pulls, finish it off there. Okay, so that's all the free pulls we've gotten so far without touching the game at all. So let's go over what we've gotten and see who's useful. So we'll go to our sort filter, go to rarity. This is how I sort units. Some people sort them by trust mastery names, some people sort them by the unit names themselves. You really want to turn off prioritization of party. That's definitely something that gets in the way and looks odd, I find. When you post for help in the Discord and you want to post your units, I highly recommend filtering to NVs only. These are the only units that matter. So we've got, let's use some of the new guys. Let's use Laswell. Let's use the free unit we got from Dragon Quest, Beast King Crocodile. And here we're not really after a particular sort of synergy, we're just having 5 stat bricks come in. We should probably have these 120 level units that were given to us for free. I think those would be quite useful to have. I really don't like Awakened Dragon Axstar, so we'll swap him out for Laguna, so we can have some breaks. And one last thing is leader skills. Units will have, some NVs will have leader skills, and they'll give stat buffs that are permanent for the fight to certain categories of units, and you can check your units categories in the 4th tab in the unit statuses. So we can see that Laswell Dark Lineage has these tags, and since he's ice or an anniversary JP unit, he will benefit from his own leader skill. Most unit, I don't think there's a unit in the game that doesn't benefit from their own leader skill. I'd be very surprised. And until you start building teams with more synergy, your leader skill's not going to matter that much. It kind of just acts as a personal buff to your units, and that's fine. So that's going to wrap it up for this first video, and I want to thank everyone for giving this a shot. I want to thank everyone for coming in and learning about the game with me. Please just don't have to like, don't have to subscribe, don't even have to comment. I just ask that if you're learning the game, come into the Discord from the subreddit. Just have a pleasant chat and just learn about the game at your own pace. Alright, thanks everybody.